Greetings, I'm Dike Rostant. Welcome back to TTT News. And now, in spite of all the pertinent news and current affairs that we bring to you on a regular basis, we're taking the time to breathe and acknowledge the season that we are in. And for that, we are joined with going in depth with none other. We're going in depth on the life and times of the Rem in your Poncha Creme, Roland, Remy, RemBunction, Yearwood. This is In Depth with me, Dike Rostant.
What vibes, people? Yours truly, Mr. RemBunction, inside your session. Like, do Dike? What are you talking about?
I was going to try it, but I'm nervous.
Try. Let me hear. RemBunction.
RemBunction.
All right, we go take that.
I ain't using the hands and thing. I keep myself inside the box for the hour. But in terms of Christmas, and I want to start off with what it is you're doing at this point in time in terms of, I see Christmas episodes, Soca Parang pics. What is that about?
All right, yeah, well, I just basically, particularly with the Christmas episodes, I took the opportunity to do a little retrospective, right? This is my 16th year doing Soca Parang, right? And it all happened by chance with the very first one, which was Mr. Santa Claus. And then since then, you know, I guess I just always seem to magically be coming up with ideas within the Christmas space, right? So I felt, well, no time like now to let people know, well, hey, you know somebody more popular ones, and then there are other ones that play that you don't necessarily know is me. So I say, hey, what? Check this, check that. So that's what the retrospective is about. I call it seasonings and the greetings, right? And then, well, you know, this time of the year too, I'm embraced a lot because people are really fond of the Soca Parang material. So, you know, it's just out and about, you know, plenty of interviews, performances, etc., etc.
And what are some of the other activities involved in? And I should even scrap that question before and ask, how are you?
Well, hey, you know, within this here time, you know, we all dealing with the pressures of the pandemic, right? We've all had to deal with social isolation, and particularly in the creative sector, finding new and innovative ways to exist, to live, right? Because, you know, a lot of us exist within the gig economy. I have been okay because I try to continue to find positivity, not toxic positivity, but positivity around me and find ways to keep myself, I'm a spirit boy. So I have been using my entire skill set. So whereas I wouldn't be performing a lot, I've still been behind the scenes doing work in terms of my graphic design work, animation, and production, because, you know, you could still do editing and that kind of stuff and animation remotely. So it's not the best, but we make the best of a not great situation, you know?
And even before we go any further, and I want to get into the design work, the editing that you're doing, but you need to explain that for me though. What is toxic positivity?
Well, you know, toxic positivity is the way where how we don't always acknowledge when we have feelings of depression, sadness, or whatever. You know how nowadays a lot of what we see out there is that, you know, you must always keep yourself up and everything you must always see ways to be light and bright. I'm not saying that you can't find the light in you, but toxic positivity is when you don't acknowledge that you do have negative feelings, that you do feel sad sometimes, that you do feel angry, right? Where we always have to keep this illusion of buoyancy and happiness all the time, right? So we keep the internal light, we try to find the joy, but we also always acknowledge when we have the other feelings and find positive ways of dealing with those feelings, yeah?
And thank you for that, and taking that and putting that in my notebook. And because, you know, some people walk around and everything, how you do it? Love and light.
Yeah. Nah. We balance, it's balance. Let's be real, we're all real human beings. And we all know that, particularly in this social media age, we always present our best face, right? Now, I am not the type to have a bleeding heart on social media, but I'm a human being. I have up days, I have down days. And similarly, for those who will feel the need to share on social, you respect that, and you also try to recognize when people need a little reaching out and that kind of thing, you know? So, yeah, brother, I mean, we live and we acknowledge those who go through trials and tribulations, and we try to help as best as we could. Yeah, that's what it is all about. Each one help one.
Thank you so much for that. But you said that we're all human beings, and that brings me to talking about though human the scene.
Though human the scene, right? Fallible human beings. Nice segue, man. Well, my thought was this, right? right now everybody talking about do hee-haw the scene, right? And in my opinion, we blaming the donkey because it's not really the donkey doing all the nonsense, it's us human beings. When you think about everything that happening now, global warming, the pandemic, is all our experimentation and our trying to be more than, I mean, we experiment and we learn and we grow, but I feel like we take it to the extreme and we human the scene, right? So when you're talking about ice caps melting and, as I said, global warming and those kind of things, it's us. So I say do human the scene instead of blaming the donkey. That is basically it. And so I did some merchandise to drive the point home.
And literally drunk or sober, mind your business. So how people contacting you, engaging you to get some of that merchandise off your hands, good sir?
Right. So I don't share out my number just so, right? But they can link me on social media. So I'm on all the social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. You just direct message me and I make arrangements with you to link up and transfer the merchandise. So it's been going so far so good, Got quite a few people requesting teas and stuff, and so that's just a little side thing I've been doing too, Yeah.
And some people talk about different revenue streams. So
Definitely.
in terms of those revenue streams, and one of the things I look at is the fact that you have you spun off on it a little bit. So even if you're looking at today's menu, curry, so as opposed to just the t-shirts, how are you branching out using your different skill sets on this central theme?
Right. Well, a lot of people have been doing that. A lot of the artists have been doing that. Like Leon Caldero have Caldero's flavor. Now we cooking. Me, I know I could cook a little bit, but me, I know chef type. So let me stick within the artistic realm. So I've been basically doing the t-shirt merchandise and stuff. And I've also been doing production work with corporate clients, couple extra jingles than I would usually do, that kind of thing, So my skills, I still remain in the creative sector. I've been doing graphic design as well, right? As I told you earlier, not as much performance, but still within that sector. So that is me. That's what I do.
And one of the things that I looked at is the fact that I'm wondering what kind of conversations someone would be having with you now versus then. And let me explain myself. You're going to good school with your good head, and you're going to learn editing, multimedia, these kind of things. Was there anyone who ever said, "You sure that's what you want to do? You don't want to go this way"? Look at who your parents or your family, how they're involved, and what is it they're telling you no when everything going virtual? Dr. Cyber Parang.
Well, I mean, in the earlys, you would have had people who would be naysayers because they are accustomed to I guess what you call it, the old school vision of what life and career is supposed to be. You go to school, you study, you get a job, right? Very early on in the game, I realized that if I have to do bad, I could do bad all by myself. Because very early on, I was doing graphic design for agencies, and I appreciate the experience. But I remember specifically when I came back home in 2004, it was giving me a salary very similar to what I left. And I was like, well, hey, all right, partners, I guess I'm on my own, right? And that decision has served me in good stead, because even through trials and tribulations, I know that I'm working on my mission, so I take the good, the bad, and the indifferent, right? And yeah, I just push forward, brother. Keep pushing forward.
And we see you pushing forward. We see your work popping up with Film TT, Invest to KTT, and many.
Right.
A great deal of other things, but we talk more about that when we return. We take a short break. We are talking with Roland, RemBunction Yearwood. Stay with us. Welcome back. This is In Depth with me, Dike Rostant. We are joined by RemBunction. RemBunction in your session. No, RemBunction, your music has... Your music offerings are very diverse. I didn't realize Mr. Santa Claus was 16 years old now, but where do you get the inspiration, sometimes even the courage, I guess, to mash up that box? Or should I put pause on that statement looking at episode 21, the Talking Pastel, or One-on-One that you released in June? But inspiration, where does that come from?
My inspiration, it comes from a range of places, right? I mean, sometimes it's true creations, just pure imagination as they speculated on something, you know, I'm projecting. So it's just a range of things, you know. I always have something dancing in my head, and you know, it comes out in this form and fashion. And you were talking about being courageous to jump outside the box. Because of the fact that I have never let seasons, even though I was in a Christmas season or a time that season, I've never let what those seasons supposedly dictate what I do, right? So you will find that even within the Christmas holiday, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, what you want to call it, season, I have done songs that could be considered as social political commentary within the space. If you get a chance, check out To Pull Pull, for example. So I have just always been true to myself as an artist, right? My mentality thing is that by the time I put pen to paper and start, I'm making music from the heart, and then everything offshoot from there. And you know, not everybody will like everything you do, right? But that is fine too. You know, it will connect with who it needs to connect in any point in time, because as you rightfully say, it have those who go watch me sing or talk in pastel and raise an eyebrow, and then go have those who go love and appreciate the Christmas spirit, you know, because back to human beings, we are no one thing, right? Multifaceted, yeah, man.
Not monoliths. And one of the things that actually pull from, no pun intended, you just talk about pull, to pull, but the sine wave or rhythm and Kalinda, and the fact that you could even get biblical and say that is anchored in love and built on love, and it's almost as though you're using love, and in this instance, I use love for the craft as the cornerstone from which you learn as you grow and you go, because you're not sure what the outcome will be, but you're sure where you're tethered to, and that is love, and it moves forward from there.
Exactly. Love, the universal language, and that's rooted everything in love. It said, well said, definitely. Me not add nothing to that.
What I wanted to add to is how the pandemic has influenced the music, though.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, art imitates life, life imitates art, and you know, has influenced my life. So I have done music that particularly deals with the topic, whether it be head-on or tongue-in-cheek, right? Some of those include Christmas Quarantine, right, which was done last year. Cyber Parang, which speaks to the fact that, like we're doing right now, we have to meet now virtually. You know, and while nothing beats that human connection, at the very least, we have the technology to help us out to at least maintain some form of connection. So that's Cyber Parang. And then outside of the Christmas space specific, I did a song recently, which I alluded to, called One on One, where I say lockdown can't lockdown, like lyric and song. Keep the music up, keep the vibes them up, right? So, and that one was a little more in a romantic adult vein, if you want to put it that way. Yeah? So
yes, I tell myself you're channeling a little D'Angelo. I say hello. But in terms of not necessarily that one-on-one, but engaging with other individuals, you're no stranger to helping a person's putting work in, producing, editing, and who are some of those people? Because like you rightly said, not everyone may have realized that you've had your hands on a project. So what are some of those that we mightn't think about when it comes to the work that you put in?
Wow, many, well, dating, we're going back. We could go back. I mean, I've worked many times with Marshall, you know, like on You, on Soca Kingdom, Bazadi, then Bungie with production, video production, Fian, Maximus, you know, a ton of the artists in the mix. Isaac Blackman, the Blackman family, just most of the people they could think of in some way or some form, I would have collaborated with them, Farm and Happy, you know, so yeah, it's all love, you know, because sometimes depending on what they need, they might come to Rem for a little video production, they come from a fight, they might want me to do an animated version of them, as the case might be, you know, so yeah, and then I try to maintain good relationships with everyone in the industry, and, you know, from all reports, apparently, you know, we still good.
But does that talent, and I said because that fluidity is a skill, is a talent, is that one of the things that plays out in the way that you're not as afraid as some individuals may be to say, okay, well, let me try this. So doing a song like Black Queen, or doing a song like Divine Intervention, or digging in the Kaiso crates and working on something like Maestro, or Born to Shine with Carol Addison. And how do you decide? Nice. How do you decide what you're going to be adding to your discography?
Well, as I said, you know, I'm influenced by many things, right? And as I say, I'm thinking and observing. And in some of the examples you bring there, sometimes I would want to make a homage, a salute to the artists that have influenced me, because I always also take schooling from them indirectly, listening to how they construct melodies, how they write the lyrics, how the composition come together as a whole, right? And it's just what I like what moves me in a particular time. I'm a calypso lover. I'm a lover of music, first and foremost. But I love us. I love calypso, I love rapso, I love soca. So you will find that even when I go off on a reggae vibe or R&B vibe, it's still gonna be informed by here and informed in some way with hints of that as well. So for me, I just let the creativity flow, right? So I mean, I might be in a totally calypso zone tomorrow, and next week, suddenly the energy flowing towards reggae, right? I don't fight it, right? And as we're alluding to again, I don't let the season tie me down. I don't let what people's expectation tie me down, right? And I'm fortunate that I have the other skill sets that to marry each other, so I'll be able to take a project from start to finish. I don't know, might not always be the best thing because maybe some people feel threatened by that, but I just can only be myself, and to myself, I will continue to be true.
And we're going to come back to that issue or that idea of feeling threatened by you, but we won't do it now. What I want to ask is, what comes first? Because I remember trying to peg it on once and ask you which one, if you only had one to say, okay, well, this is what I'm hanging my hat on, this is what I would do. But with and I'll call it a concept song, forgive me if I'm wrong, like 5. Is it that you see the images first? Is it that you get the lyrics first? Or how? Take me through the progression of a song like that.
Well, a song like that, that specific song is I think I see a whole picture, right? When I say 5, I start to see the whole story in my head already, right? So that's how it constructed. That's how it go. Somebody was asking me recently about a song I did called Better Half, right? It's a similar idea where I start to hear the melody, I start to hear the lyrics, I start to see the visuals all at once, right? And that's generally how it goes for me, right? The only time that is different is if, for example, someone sends a rhythm, right? I don't do too many rhythms, but sometimes if the rhythm real grab me, I will jump on. And what you have to do now is you have to sit down and soak in that rhythm, right? And how you feeling it, right? And what you could bring to it. If I can't bring on to it, new or different or outstanding, I don't try, right? I just be like, you know what? All right, this is a rhythm. But it has to those ways you sit down and be like, all right, how do I make this me, right? And so that's the only time when I will see that the music come first and the lyric come after, let's say. But most times if I am doing a production, there's music, lyrics, visuals, everything dancing at the same time in my head. But it's just some will come out first because, of course, I want to put on the music first, then I will have to record the vocals, and then only after that is done, then you could sync a visual to that. So you'll have to shoot the visual last, you know? Yeah.
Understood. Now, back to that idea of feeling threatened. I don't necessarily want to ask you to give advice, but if you had to tell someone, okay, well, out of my experience, this is what's working for me, or this is what has helped me, what would you tell someone who is in the creative sector, possibly an artist or just a creative, in terms of navigating this time that we're in? What would your words to them be?
Well, you have to be confident in yourself and your product first and foremost, right? No one is going to do you any favors, right? You have to be consistent and persistent in putting your craft out. I would say we have to continue to find new ways to meander through all the quagmire of things that come in at us now, because there's a double-edged sword. With social media and stuff, it's much easier to promote yourself and get your material out and be heard. But also, there's also a glut of stuff coming at you all the time, every day. So you also have to be able to stand up with some kind of it factor. And that it factor is being your authentic self, right? So if you are your authentic self, it will be bound to connect with somebody. So, but that is, I don't want to oversimplify it, though, because even within the authentic self, you still have to use the tools of the trade. You still have the markets along with that. But what I'm saying is that it connects better if you start off from a point of truth, whatever that truth is, and then move forward.
Yeah, man, mommy say a word to the wise is sufficient. But we have a little less than a minute. So just allowing you to give some Christmas greetings, season's greetings, anything matching your hat in your closing, in your closing argument.
Right. Well, what I will say to everyone is big up everyone who love me. I love you straight back, right? Love to everyone, all the best for the season and beyond. Do human the scene. Bright and prosperous 2022. Please be safe. Don't drink and drive, because I want everybody on the next side to arrive alive, right? RemBunction, one love, and I'm gone.
Thank you so much, RemBunction, and on behalf of the entire TTT News team, this has been In Depth. Thank you for joining us.